Hello, boys. How's it going this evening? Yeah, man, I'm about to do a little quick news. Well, not so quick. My videos are longer than they should be. But yeah, every once in a while I'll get a reasonable request. Forger, why don't you make videos that are much shorter, like 15 minutes? This way, more people will watch, it'll benefit you, and things like that. And to be quite honest with you, I've done that. I've done all sorts of formats throughout the time. So believe me, I've tried them all. But, the problem is when you do 15 minutes videos, you cannot just make speak on the mic like I'm doing right now. You have to do your homework. You have to write a script. Yeah, and if you're not good at it, it's going to take long. And it's going to be mentally, if you don't enjoy it, it's going to be gruesome, tiresome, bothersome. You're going to hate the process. But then you're going to also have to use an application and like a audio, what do you call it? A recording, a video editing application. Then you're going to record yourself and you're going to rehearse it. It's not going to land right. You're going to have to re-record that one word you missed, and then after that you're gonna have to put it at the right moment, a right place in the file, at the right second, and then you're gonna have to find the visuals. And I've done all sorts of that stuff before. So like a 15-minute video will end up taking like 4 hours of your time. Now in front of the screen, just to show you an email that I got just for the last video that I streamed with you. So I streamed 1 hour. It took 1 hour of my time. I had the pleasure of hanging out with you. But imagine if I had spent 4 hours. Now here's my reward. Look at the YouTube BS. So they flagged my video and basically they demonetized it. Just so you see why I don't do those video editing. I don't do it anymore. It says, our team took a closer look at whatever video it was and found that the content doesn't align with our I can't even say the word, because even saying the word here is going to get me flagged, guys. So recreational stupefier and stupefier related policy. And it says, as a result, your video may not be suitable for all advertisers. And then he says exactly at what point, at 21 minute 45, whatever. Keep in mind, it says, so the reason is non-educational content focusing on, now you see stupefiers here because I'm using an app. There's an app that blocks the word and I change it. So you always wonder, why is he not using the real word? It's because when they detect I'm talking about stupefiers, the D word, as soon as I mention the D word, because I cover news on the underworld. So when I say the D word, look, here's what I have to deal with. It's non-educational content focusing on illegal stupefiers. Well, I'm covering the news. So what's the problem here? I'm covering the news. So it has to be educational. The only way you can discuss stupefiers at all means I have to open a DSM-5 book and talk about effects order. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't make sense. But there you go. Reading the news is non-educational content. So that means you cannot really discuss underworld stuff. You can't really discuss what's happening in the news, in the gangland, what busts are happening. And despite that, there's also a clause that says you're allowed to discuss busts. It's an exception. But despite all that, I'm getting my videos flagged and demonetized. And by the way, this email is after I appealed it. Still, I get this email. It's non-educational. So imagine if I had spent 4 hours making a video editing and all that, guys. Would you do it if you were me? Spend 4 hours and to then get a big middle finger. That's why I do these streams like this. I just do it one shot and I said it and I forget it and I get to enjoy myself. But anyways, let's get down to the news, friend. So I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 news today. So instead of the 10, 20, we get 5. Let's look at it. You remember last year, this right here. I don't know if it rings any bell to you. I used to live around this area. It was a walking distance from my place. Last year, there was Now I don't remember this fire, but last year I do remember. I think the yeah, actually I do remember the Molotov displays, and then there was a murder nearby or either at this place. What do you want to know? Is this might be too different. No, they are nearby. There's two different stores nearby, based off my memory. But when I say nearby, I mean like right across the street, visible. You know what I'm saying. You cross the street, you walk. So you walk about say 100 or 200 meters, and you're at the other strip. So these are like parking lots with many stores there. This one is in a corner, I believe, on Marcel Lorrain and Boulevard Timmins. And they sent a message. They burned that place down. This used to be a sushi shop too. But you remember last year there was the other location nearby. There was this old 70-year-old man who was assassinated. I think he was leaving his restaurant, or was it a lounge, or maybe it's this one, and he was leaving and he got ambushed. Word or rumor was that he may have been extorted, may have even been a shisha spot or something, but the rumor was, it could have been false, but the rumor was maybe they were trying to get him to buy their tobacco. So anyways, let's refresh on this. There seems to be an update on that. So 1 year later, we're getting an update. Extortion of restaurants. A 20-year-old accused of two criminal fires. Two of them. Now, could it be it's the two, when you say two, it's two in the same place or two different locations? Yeah, here it says two different establishments in Saint Laurent neighborhood. Couple of minute interval. Let's see. So Restaurant Rosanna was Molotoved on the 5th or 6th of February. Man, time flies, eh, guys? That was like, it's going to be 2 years since we covered that. We spent a lot of time together, man. 2 years since we covered that, man. A 20-year-old from Laval is being accused of both of them. The young man is Joshua Chomba, and yeah, it was on the 5th, 6th of 2024, February, at approximately 2:20 in the a.m. He would have first broken the window of Restaurant Amaraya on Boulevard Marcel Lorrain. So this right here. Now, I think this one is near, the Restaurant Amaraya. I'm pretty certain it's the one near the Super C, right? On Marcel Lorrain. There's like a strip with a bunch of stores there. There's a little government thing where you can go get your stuff to do with your driving license. And there's like an SAQ or SAAQ, whatever they call it, where you buy the alcohols. There's a bunch of stores near each other, and Amaraya is one of them. So he broke it and then he set it on fire. 20 minutes later. So first he broke the window at 2:20. 20 minutes later, he did it again. Oh, okay. So he did two in one evening. So he did Amaraya on Marcel Lorrain. Then a little bit further up on Marcel Lorrain, but on the corner with Boulevard Timmins. Then he did the Rosanna one. So they say tens of meters away. And in the following hours, no, sorry about that. So the damages were minor. It didn't go too far. So both commerces hit in the same area, like walking distance, a very, very small walking distance. Same guy. So he might get 14 years of prison. Now the motive and what's behind it is the most important part. Now, look at this. Owner assassinated. A couple of weeks after his restaurant was targeted by a Molotov cocktail, the owner of Rosanna, Ziad Jabrini Naban, was assassinated by rounds in the parking lot of his establishment. And I believe that he would be... Give me just a second. It says propriété Rosanna. Rosanna would be this one. So the one that's at the corner of Timmins and Marcel Lorrain. So he left this place and he got assassinated. I had it confused before. I thought it was this one, but it was actually the other one. So confusing. The 71-year-old man was offed on the 4th of March 2024. He was in the vehicle of his wife. 7 shells were found on the floor. And the guy fled on a Honda Civic. Yeah, man. The question is, who ordered this? Now, we're going to have to wait for that to get more info. Maybe it'll come out. But all we know right now is they arrested a 20-year-old man. Next one, criminal fire in Primi Piatti. I guess that's a restaurant. Or an adolescent, 16 years old, set ablaze in order to buy himself luxuries. So he's getting paid for this job. Burned down the commerce. The commerce was the victim of threats a little bit before. On the 28th of August, the Longueuil police, now we're flying to the south shore of Montreal. So you have Montreal Island, you would cross the water, and you'd get to the south shore. Okay, that's more that area. If you want to know, it's like more around where Wooly lived. You know, more around his area. I think even Wooly got killed in his own area. So it's more that zone. They're saying that the police launched an investigation because 3 restaurants received threatening letters. Now, I know that we covered, for the first time ever, about maybe a month or 2 ago, we covered this as a new trend. We covered this new trend that it's now official. It's what's been happening in Montreal has expanded to the shores, to the south shores. It was already on the north shore, but we hadn't really heard about the south shore. Now, about a month ago, for us anyways, me and you, it became official. It'll become part of the show. We'll probably be hearing a lot more of that. Hence, I guess they're talking about those events here, because it says 28th of August 2025. So that's about right, 1 or 2 months ago. So they've been receiving letters, an envelope. Inside of the letter, there would be threats as well as shells. So this is very reminiscent of the old port, Montreal, where they were sending letters. This very summer, they were sending letters, or they were sticking letters on the window of the store with an envelope in it. Doesn't make sense. Letter with envelope. You know, an envelope with letter in it, and there would be. I can't even say the word. Now you know why. How this stuff works on YouTube, with the rounds in it. Same pattern. You makes you wonder if it's the same people. Now the one in the old port, the cops all but pretty much told us they believe it's a West Island gang. They believe it's tied to Arab Power. Question is someone ordering Arab Power to do this and paying them? Or is this themselves that are doing this for their own benefit? And the answer to nobody. That's the interesting question, because when we studied Bobby the Greek, what we had found out is Bobby the Greek seemed to be receiving missions, and he would be dispatching them, and there seemed to be it's all hypothetical, but it seemed to be leaning more towards he may have been giving them out to Arab Power. You see, so is that the type of dynamic that's going on here? Now, we're talking about the old port, right? When they left the envelopes, did someone make them do it, or are they doing it for themselves? Now we find another scenario on the South Shore, same thing, sending out letters with shells in them. So, good evening, mountain woman. Let's see what we got here. A 16-year-old got arrested. Now, you notice the young age. How come we're never getting, not that I want, but I'm asking like that. You know what I'm saying? How come we're never getting a 40-year-old, 45-year-old man was arrested setting on the fire. And you know what I mean? Look, 20-year-old. For me, 20 and 16 is rather close. Why are they that young? You gotta ask yourself. Of course, the obvious, they're younger and dumber, you know what I mean? More brazen. But that's not, I'm not asking for the obvious answer. It's to explain things, to understand the meaning behind it, how these things are happening. Who's ordering who? Who's behind it? But anyways, we got 16-year-old. They're saying that the 16-year-old, they're kind of making fun of the scenario. They're saying the 16-year-old did all this because he wanted to pay himself luxury clothes with the contract he obtained on social media. Now this checks out. Now I'm happy they repeated this for us. About a month or so ago, we had one of these youngins like this man right here. My apologies. He went on camera. I believe the newspapers, the news media, they interviewed him. He had his face was burned. He looked damaged. Remember, he looked crazy. He looked really bad, and he was telling young people, "Don't do what I did." And what he did, I apologize. I have a throat pain. But what he did is he claims he on social media. I think, was it Facebook or Instagram? I don't know what youngins use these days. He was on one of them, and allegedly, he said it himself. There was like someone posted something that they were looking for someone who's interested. We have a mission. You can make cash, instant deposit by e-transfer or whatever it claimed there. He says he saw it, and he said, "Why not?" And then he did it. And what did he do? Funny enough, about a year ago, I guess, yeah, it was a year ago in my opinion. It's hard to remember, but no more than a year ago. You and I were here doing the same thing that we are today, and we saw 2-3 guys. They looked in like early 20s at the most. They were hooded. Surveillance camera footage showing them going in front of a spa or a nail salon or a massage place, something like that. And I'm pretty certain it was in the Laval area. And they went with gasoline tanks. They set the place. They poured it, and the security cam showed when he threw the match, it exploded too quickly, and you could see the guy. He kind of got it. From what we could tell at the time, he didn't fall on the floor and roll right there, and the cops come arrested. But we just saw that the flame burst on him. But he seemed to manage to run away, like, oh, okay, just like grazed him, and he left. Well, come to find out, we didn't get any news on anything like that, but come to find out, when we saw the interview of the man burned and everything, that was him. That was actually him. It's crazy, man. We cover these news, we don't know who it is, and then like a year later, nonchalantly, we see an interview, and that's the guy, Crazy. And then things link up together. That's what the channel's for, guys, Together we read this stuff and we eventually get our answers, like today. There's a payoff. But what was I going to tell you? Yes, we find out it was through social media that dude was hired. Now here we are again. Look at this. Look at this. I don't know about you, man, but I'm thinking it's the same people. I'm sort of thinking that the Rizzuto clan don't work like this. It's not everybody who is really this, how can I say, this irresponsible to just post something on social media like this and try to collect anyone. I don't buy it, you know what I mean? I think it's the same people here. But look, and it fits, was this on the, this is this summer though. This one's this summer. So that means those people, if it's them, which we're leaning on, they're not done yet. They're not done yet. That was last year, and this is this year. Or was it this summer? At this point, I could just say it was maximum last year. Maximum. But here we have it, 16-year-old. Yeah, he says that he got this contract was obtained through social media. On the night of 30th September, Primi Piatti, the restaurant, was burned, basically. And the author of this crime is only 16, they're saying. Wow, and he was arrested a couple of instances after his crime. So he was arrested that same night, and he just pled guilty at the Longueuil courthouse. And let's see. Yeah, I like to hide the face until we get there. He also had a fire tool on him and a hammer. We cannot identify the kid because he's a minor. His co-accused, though, Alicia Edens Lewis, Bastien Beckham Akimana, both of them are 19. And yeah, they will not be liberated until they go to court, And here we have their pictures. Alicia Eden Lewis, there you have it. The three men were arrested on board of the same vehicle, so I guess a couple of moments after the setting the fire, right? You say near the Primi Piatti. That's it. And of course, the cops, they were caught red-handed. They found the container with the accelerants still in their vehicle. Should have probably left it on the scene, but made sure there was no fingerprints on it. But yeah, you sealed your deal there. The crime was filmed by cameras, no surprise. Yeah, they're saying how they did it. They broke the window or whatever. We're gonna skip that. So so other evidence against him. He hit with his fist. He hit the window because they're probably gonna try to pierce the window and then throw the Molotov in, right? Or maybe they want to break the window to get in and then pour the gasoline. But when he punched it, he with his arm, I guess he cut himself. So he left evidence there anyways by doing that. Yeah, it says then they threw the Molotov inside once they did the hole, I guess. This is what it looks like. Oh man, and that restaurant was a total loss. So this one was not minor. This one went completely in. Oh, look at this. Look. This one's good too. Not saying good because I'm glad it happened, When people call me a savage, it's not like that. It's just that I like answers. One of his accomplices of the adolescent, so he was with like two adults, were 19. He says one of the accomplices filmed the entire event. So they actually went with camera, with the phone and filmed it. And I do recall that we've seen previous fires, who I suspect is the same people ordering it. But the Foot Stooges, when they send them, they have to film this. So here you have it, same pattern repeating itself. Why do you need to film it? That's really, my opinion, if the work's done and it looks like this, anyone can find out it happened. You don't need to confirm it. By filming it, you're just writing your own tombstone with the cops. But they filmed it anyways. They want to make sure they get paid, I guess. That's what they believe here, anyways. That they're trying to get the prize. So you have Bastien Beckham Akimana. The contract was given to them on social media. So the different missions were commanded by, quote, the big guys, explained the adolescent when he was interrogated by cops after his arrest. The young man accepted the contract in order to buy himself clothes and accessories, or luxury accessories. As soon as he needed money, he only needed to ask the big guys that have, if they have stuff to do or work to do. The adolescent says, wow, look at that. The adolescent says that he contacted them in the past 10 or 15 times. The identity of these, quote, big guys who are soliciting minors so they could do the dirty job has not been revealed. The adolescent confirms that he has no remorse towards what he did to the restaurant. and that he does not know the nature of the conflict between the big guys and the commerces. And, quote, God wanted this done, he said, minimizing his crime. That's it, Stupidity to the max. You can't make this stuff up. Words of an idiot spoken right there. Wow. My God, I'm asking society, what do you want to do with people who have an IQ like that? What do you want to do with people like that? You know what the result is? Look, let me teach you what they do in Canada. He risks 2 years and his identity protected. That's the result. What do you think's gonna? You just gave him a pat on the back to do it again. Welcome to Canada, friend, where common sense is not common sense at all. Next story. This one's huge. Port of Montreal. 2.7 tons of green plant destined for the UK was seized. Guys, you look at that. 2.7 pounds. With my filter on. Me not using the words because of this right here. Non-educational content focusing on illegal stupefires. You can't make this stuff up on YouTube. YouTube's a joke. Here we are, man. 2.7 ton metrics of green plant. Dang, they were about to send this to the UK. They got busted. How the hell did you guys think that you're gonna ship 2.7 ton? How? Jeez. I think they were going on boats. They were preparing to see, this is a port, right? It's logical, forger. They were gonna send this on boats. So it was seized on the 17th of September. It's been quite a while. And after that, they got an extra 173 kilos. Without going into details. Anyways, these are all stats. We're going to skip the rest. But there you go. The bust, not really telling us who, the why, from what. This is all we got. Wonder who it belongs to. But it's green plant, so it doesn't matter. Not so common, says Brent Fleury. And the next one. Arrest tied to the BFM in Quebec. Arms and stupefires seized. What do we got? We like to see BFM in the news so we can learn something if it's going to get us a little bit closer to the situation in the red zone. They seized fire tools and stupefires of all types. And they arrested a 41-year-old man tied to the BFM. It happened at 6 a.m. And now this one news is 13 till Thursday, so it should be today, right? It's fresh. So they got 1,600 units of M&Ms, 2 liters of the date ape stupefire. You know what I'm talking about? The GH something, the second letter in the alphabet. And 20 Cialis, 3 Gs of M&Ms, and I'm trying to do my best not to get caught. I have all these filters here. A cell phone and a drone as well. The 41-year-old man. Yeah. All right. No more info than that. Look, he says, okay, no, this is good. At least we get this. According to our information, the man in question would be a close friend of the BFM. Oh, no, we didn't get anything. Who was waging a fight against the Hells Angels. Okay, we didn't get anything. All right, last one. I thought this one was interesting, too. I think it's a throwback to something that happened before, but we did not cover this. It was before our time, you and I here. 15 years in the pen for the head of a family enterprise trafficking cane. The police seized more than 100 keys of cane in 2021. Here you go. That's him. Steve Abu Araj. Condemned to 15. All right. He's from Laval. And they found more than 100 kilos of cane in a cache. He was using a family home on Rue Fontenay in Laval as a location of commerce of trafficking stupefires. He was using the apartment of his ex-girlfriend or wife as a cache to hide his stuff, where the police seized no less than 103.5 keys in November 2021. Well, I gotta get that out. Maybe it's too late. Oh, and they also found a list of inventory, so of paper, I guess. Yeah, it's a list. I guess a list with everything that illegal that he has, basically, like fire tools, rounds, silencers, and the stupefires. Basically, an accounting sheet, if you will. Okay, this is the part that I would like to see. This is where we get some more interesting answers. Organized crime. The authorities had opened the case in 2021 after they received information mentioning that Martin Dazé would be the head manager of a territory operating for the account of the Hells Angels, which is stated on document deposed in court. The resident of Bois de Filion, 39, was condemned for 4 years in the pen last month at the courthouse in Laval. Quickly, the investigators noticed Dazé going to the residence of the Abu Araj family. They discovered that Steve Abu Araj was responsible for the distribution and that he would be related to organized crime Lebanese. So he'd be related to the Lebanese mafia. You wonder if these guys got ties to Hezbollah, because we know the Hezbollah does have some activities with stupefire dealings, but they need to fund their operations. But anyways, that's not that. This is just a cell here. Now, there's this Laval citizen had a rap sheet for Greenplant and stupefires. He had even been incarcerated in the United States for 10 years for possession of stupefires and fire tools. Surveillance and cameras. So they were following him. The cops were following him. They checked his comings and goings for many months in 2020 and 2021. And they filmed it. They saw many movements of boxes and bags to different address of interest before they did the raid. So here is one of the pictures. I guess that's Steve Araj, Abu Araj, right there. No, this is the son of Steve Abu Araj. So they did say a family enterprise, right? So this is his son. This is Andy. Seen leaving with a recyclable bag here. You wonder what's in it. In October of 2021, Steve, that's the father, right? Steve went to the airport of Montreal before leaving to Beirut. But then that's what was his intention. He was going to the airport to go to Beirut, but I think they're saying the police didn't let him. Or the what do you call it? Those security at the airport, they didn't let him. He says they noticed a strong odor of green plant, which was emanating from his suitcase. And then they discovered traces of cane in one of them, in an affidavit deposed as evidence. He did manage to leave Canada the following day. That's strange. And then he came back in July of 2024 when there was a warrant for him. And since then, Steve Abu Araj has been behind bars. He only has a little bit less than 13 years to purge. Now, there was a court order where they were not allowed to sell the family home since the raids in 2021. Steve and his mother, Henriette Abu Araj, have finally come to an agreement with the state, with the country, so that they can confiscate $100,000 instead of the residence. So, I guess when they say fruits of crime, we're going to seize the home, whatever. I don't know how this stuff works, but apparently the government accepted 100,000 in cash instead. And let's see what else we got. I guess that's the house. So, oh, look at it. Close family members condemned to prison. I don't know what that means. Prison at home. Is that really prison? Well, that's what they say. Condemned to prison at home and community work. So his 72-year-old mother, his son Andy Abu Araj, which was basically him here, and his cousin Rula Barak, 52, and his you call it stepsister Gislan Oarab, 39, and his sister and ex-wife but his sister and ex-wife were acquitted. There you go. So they got the whole family somehow involved, and it kind of reminds you the rumors with Al Khalil when the newspapers described the Al Khalil family or all helping him. It sounds kind of like similar, but yeah, we don't have much info. But that's it. That's it for today, guys. The shortest video in a long time, huh? In a while. But yeah, I have to explain to you that what I do here, covering this news, I'm not really supposed to. That's why I have all these super magic words and I dance around the subject, guys. Because apparently what I'm doing is non-educational content. Apparently this is non-educational content, guys. Somehow the newspapers that have channels and all of them, they can cover this non-educational content focusing on stupefires. But I cannot. I'm a small channel. I'm not allowed to do that. So I don't like to spend 2, 3, 4 hours video editing a nice video for you to make it 10 minutes, And then I get this email and it says, "Whoops, well, sorry, buddy, but no explanation is given. Your video has been demonetized and the algorithm killed it. No one will really watch it now. Just maybe 5 people per day." Yeah, we don't want to push content that can't make YouTube money, right? So screw you. That's what it comes down to. Anyways, I want to give you guys a shout out. Give a shout out to Chris Inslee, Mountain Woman. Thank you so much. David Leduc. Salut, bro. Ça va, man? David, la première fois que je te vois ici. David, what's up, buddy? We got David. And we got, who else we at? Word of the day. He always gets his word of the day, Always gets his word in. And Brent Fleury. I like that name. And who else we got? Heretic Crone. Heretic Crone. What's up, Heretic? And also the Silent Bunch. I appreciate the Silent Bunch. They're silent, bro. They've been asking that question in their mind this whole time. But they didn't ask me. Because, they gave me the benefit of the doubt. They gave me the benefit of the doubt. They said he must have had his reasons. He must have his reasons. He surely thought about it. He's not that stupid, is he? Forger, But I'm gonna have to keep doing this every couple of weeks. Every couple of weeks, some innocent soul will ask, and it's completely reasonable question, and then I have to show you why, But I had the excuse. I had the perfect email that just came in. I said, let me show you guys what it looks like. So this channel should not even exist. I should not be covering what we're covering here. Do you see the impossible scenario I'm in? YouTube's a terrible platform, man. This is what we have to contend. And they got the monopoly. But anyways, man, thank you so much for listening and to my jokes. God bless, bro. Merci beaucoup, David Leduc. The boss right there. I appreciate you, buddy. And the silent ones. I definitely appreciate you. You smart fella.